Well, representing Team StarTale, ladies and gentlemen, taking third place at the Korea National Qualifiers. Let's see what he can do here against his illustrious Chinese opponent, who some tout is the best Protoss in China. We have StarTale.PartinG.
And his opponent, playing from Invictus Gaming, he did finish up at that 5th, 6th place in China. He is out here to prove himself. It's none other than MacSed.
And this is going to be a pretty exciting matchup, man. It is a PvP, but like a lot of people have been saying, PvP, oh, it's a bit of a coin toss. You have to actually be careful. But the metagame has moved on a lot from that now. We have people playing a little bit safer. We see people just playing more greedy and reacting to scouting a lot more than just, oh, this is one base, we're going to slug it out until one player does better than the other. This is not always what we currently see, and we already have a little bit of a difference in opinion here. We can see that PartinG has actually gone for both of his gases at a fairly early point in the game, with MacSed still only taking the one.
Now, we did watch a PvP. Now, whoa, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, there is a second stream. Over on the other stream, we do have Grubby and Artosis over there.
Yep,
they're going to be broadcasting on the other stream for this next game, and actually, they're doing Comm versus SKTB currently. But back over in their first match, they did have Creator versus Ash. It ended up being a 4-gate slugfest where Creator won out 2-0. Yeah. And we will also be giving you some bracket updates on this stream as well, so stay tuned. We'll be updating you as soon as those matches come in. Now over here, we haven't seen too much different happen. PartinG has already started with that Zealot. MacSed deciding, no, I don't need a Zealot.
Getting his second gas a little bit later than PartinG was, MacSed. So PartinG's going to have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to choosing that tech route. We can see that he actually had 3 probes in each gas geyser, so he wasn't doing any sort of like Sase style 2 probes in each gas or something like that. He really did want to get his gas a little bit earlier than his opponent, and perhaps the result of that is that he will be able to get a sentry out after this Zealot, so he will have the force field out ramp.
Well,
nice pick off there.
You're going to want that sentry to block the ramp because you do not want MacSed to see that you have already started your Stargate.
And this could be an awful lot of fun, and actually very, very contrasting strategies here because the Stargate has gone down in the back now for PartinG, but at the same time we have a rather quick Twilight Council going on in the back of MacSed's base. Now, Blink, of course, always useful, especially on a map where these cliffs are quite prolific round the south side of the main base here. Not quite all the way around. You can't quite blink this distance, for example. So not entirely the best, but that's because we're not going to bother with that blink play at all, are we, Rob?
No, we're not, because over here MacSed has started the Dark Shrine. Wow. MacSed really just going all in.
This is going to be really...
wow, yeah, and actually PartinG isn't going to have any of that detection out here.
That's right, there's no Robo out for PartinG, so I'm really worried for him right now. He's got a couple of Phoenixes moving out across the map, and he will be able to at least scout the Dark Shrine relatively soon. This is going to come down a lot to PartinG being able to force field off the ramp. If no DTs can get into the base, he might be able to buy himself enough time to get a couple of observers out. PartinG with a forward pylon at the 4th base location. The first probe now going to be putting a pylon in the natural expansion of PartinG, very, very aggressively placed. And it's all going to come down to whether the DTs get into the base. Let's take a look at what PartinG has scouted so far. Knows nothing of the Twilight Council, nothing of the Dark Shrine. Let's see what happens when it finally sees.
Well, and now at this point, really his only hope for detection is going to be that observer anyway. So he's going to have to be waiting for the Robo, and in he comes. He does just barely... Was he able to see the Dark Shrine there? No! Just barely does not see the Dark Shrine in the back of the base, and MacSed is quickly going to work over in that natural, warping in 2 of those Dark Templar, and moving up the ramp. Is he going to see it? Oh, wow, and the wall is finished up with those pylons, and he lands the force field.
Oh, triple pylon block there from PartinG. Force fields as backup, and these DTs are not going to be able to get any word in edgeways. The robotics facility is almost complete as well, and no doubt an observer is going to get chrono boosted out as quickly as humanly possible. These Phoenix still doing a decent amount of damage
now
here.
He's used the Archon to smash through the force field, but he's going to be able to connect now. He may be buying enough time. Yep. There's going to be far too much time. That observer is going to finish up no problem. And now MacSed moving out for the expansion.
Wow. So 5 workers killed so far. These Phoenix have done a decent job. Great reactions there from PartinG to preserve the wall, smashing down the force fields like you mentioned, but at the end of the day, just unable to get past the pylon block as well. So a good thinking there from Parting, preventing any sort of harassment coming in with those DTs early game. And a lot of gas has been invested in this as far as MacSed is concerned as well. So he's going to have to play catch-up as far as tech is concerned. He does have a decent number of gateway units out now, but Parting is going to be ahead in terms of tech, and the first Immortal about to pop out for our StarTale player.
Yeah, and after Parting gets over there and does see that, Parting deciding that he's going to go for a Nexus of his own as well. I thought that we were just going to see him trigger into a big one-base push and try to crush through that natural, but very nice defense over here from MacSed, having the Archon in the base, just laying down a little bit of that splash damage, and now Parting's looking really comfortable as MacSed also finishes up the natural of his own and gets that Blink tech.
Yeah, Blink is a fairly logical follow-up for MacSed at this point. I mean, at the end of the day, he went for the DT opening. The DTs did not end up doing the damage he intended for them to do, but he has got the Twilight Cancel anyway. He might as well go into the Blink as well. Note that more and more units actually being slowly warped in at the natural expansion because Parting hasn't yet seen that there is a pylon at the back here, but he does have enough units at home or thereabouts to defend against it for now, which is why the Zealot is currently staying here. Meanwhile, out in the center of the map, we see a couple of Stalkers will be able to spot this forward pylon over here. Only 2 Phoenixes left now to do harassment damage in the main base of MacSed. Not going to be able to do too much in the long term. And these Stalkers need to be, very, very nice. Now with Blink, once Blink finishes, those Phoenix would have been completely
and now MacSed, as he loses that pylon out in the center of the map, that does actually supply block him. And now if he loses this additional pylon out here in the back of Parting's natural, he'll be once again supply blocked, and we're only just seeing those 2 pylons added on, so he's going to be a little bit behind here.
Starting a third pylon as soon as he spots that one in the back of the natural was spotted. That's a great point there, Rob. Needs to be very, very careful. He doesn't want to fall too far behind as far as supply is concerned. Now, he does have the earlier Nexus compared to Parting, so he might be able to try and get back on par economically. The issue was those Phoenixes. We can see Parting is ahead by a couple of workers at the moment. Both sides have completed their natural expansion. Actually, the saturation at the natural expansion is marginally better for Parting, who's actually taken his gases a little bit earlier as well, and is ahead on tech, is able now to start his Colossus production. The robotics bay is now finished as well. Really, the unit composition from Parting is just leaps and bounds ahead of his opponent as well, simply because of the amount of gas invested into those DTs.
Yeah, after you end up going, I mean, he ended up building, 3 DTs, right? So you were just losing so much of that gas
early. More than that as well. He was
right.
Poking forward with a 4th and 5th, and there was a lot of gas invested there.
Yeah, and that's just ultimately going to cost you. You can see what it has done to his tech, as you so aptly pointed out. Really, Parting's just got the one-up as far as that army composition goes, and as far as his tech goes as well. The Thermal Lance is already about halfway done, and the first Colossus is already in play as he heads on his second robotics facility.
+1 ground weapons now being added from the Forge, and Parting, of course, with that double robo incoming as well, needs to be a little bit careful on how he spends his gas, so wasn't able to get quite as many upgrades out earlier on in the game as he otherwise would have liked. But MacSed, of course, with DTs, with that blink, and here we go, blinking forward, trying to pick up a couple of those Phoenix.
But keeps them alive. Whoa, just barely, only 23 HP remaining on that lone Phoenix. But look at those kills. He's a mentor, man. He's got 6 kills on that Phoenix.
8 kills. 6 kills. My apologies there. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The Phoenix really doing its job quite well. An observer moving in to the main base now sees that there is a Forge, in fact, researching, and now we can really illustrate exactly how far behind MacSed's tech is. He has no upgrades at the moment. He hasn't even got a Forge on the way. He's just trying his best to get extended Thermal Lance so he can get on par with those Colossi. The problem is he's still only on the 1 robotic facility as he finally starts that first upgrade. He needs to get the second robo down, and he needs to try and catch up as far as production is concerned, and that's why Parting will always have the numbers advantage here. I mean,
now MacSed has not kept up at all with his probe production. He has fallen behind quite a bit. Those Phoenixes just really ended up doing so much for Parting, as MacSed is now over 10 probes behind his opponent. And also Parting already comfortably starting onto his third base, and he's got the Colossus to protect him, so really, he doesn't have anything to be afraid of.
Yep, there are 3 Colossus to 1 at the moment. Really difficult position for MacSed to be in. He needs to get more Colossi out as quickly as he possibly can, but he's just unable to do that right now. He just doesn't have the resources to do so, and Parting using that probe advantage to try and saturate a third base as well. He's saying, well, look, MacSed's not able to push out with his army at any point soon, so what I'm going to do is take a third base and ask him what he's going to do about it. And truth be told, especially while these Phoenix are still continuing to scout, we'll be able to spot when the army moves out as well as he needs to keep that one alive for scouting purposes. Just manages to do so. Sadly, Mentor Phoenix has passed away.
Oh, such a shame. I'm sure that he had a fantastic burial.
do Phoenixes get buried?
Wakes? Maybe they have a wake. They just celebrate
like
his spirit. Yeah.
They're summoning him back. What scouting information did you get? You need to tell us. And the third base is now up for Parting. So this is going to trigger MacSed into some sort of action here. He cannot allow his opponent just to slowly mine more and more, because then you just lose a really depressing long macro game. So he needs to do something against this third base. He can't take a third base himself because until about 20 seconds ago, those Phoenix were harassing the heck out of him and could scout where his army was at all times. I think that proved to be pretty darn important indeed, which is why MacSed really needs to make something happen here. The issue he has, though, he doesn't have enough Colossi to do so.
No, he doesn't. So what he's going to be banking on in this engagement is having those charged zealots just a smidge before Parting does. Now, he's also going to need those Archons to crush through those force fields, but as we can see, only one of the Archons has joined up with the main army. Now, we do have a couple more DTs being warped in here. The second Archon joins up as well. Oh, but the Observer is in play. If he's able to take out that Observer, oh no, now we're not going to see Parting's Observer able to get picked off now because MacSed has lost his only way to take out the enemy Observer. So those Dark Templar are going to have a lot of trouble connecting, and as he pulls back up into the natural, that Thermal Lance is just going to pretty much stop MacSed from getting up that ramp, and instead he chooses to go for the third.
Yeah, I think Parting got himself into a fantastic position there at the natural expansion. He knew that he has more Colossi than his opponent, so if he gets a decent position, there's nothing MacSed can do to push in. Great decision there from StarTale.PartinG, and of course MacSed doing the logical thing, trying to move into the third as well. If this Nexus stays alive after this engagement, even if they trade on equal terms, Parting will win the game. He is at a 15 supply lead, temporarily getting blocked a bit there, but MacSed, it has to be said, is engaging with all of his Colossi. Let's see what can happen here. The charge bot's moving in as well, and laser beams all over the place.
Oh man, that 5 Colossus count is just showing you how much bigger 5 really is than 3. We've got all of the Zealots completely removed from MacSed's army, and he's just got almost nothing left. There's no hope for the remaining army. They're not going to be able to pull out of there, and now Parting is moving in for the killing blow.
And the last Colossus goes down here. Parting very, very comfortable, and GG comes out from MacSed. StarTales.PartinG, ladies and gentlemen, wins the first game of this